what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Podcast Room. I'm Pastor Email. Thank you for joining us today. Super excited about today's conversation. For those of you who have been following and watching the episodes, we appreciate your support. Don't forget to like, comment, share. You want to hit that bell so that every time we drop something, you are notified. Today's conversation is going to be really good. Get your tissues ready, get your memories ready, all that good stuff. In honor of not only Black History, but in honor of our dad, Archbishop Roy Brown's birthday. This podcast is to honor him. And I am with two of the women who are probably the most important to him. And who else? Bishop, don't start yet. Don't start. Bishop, don't start. Who else to talk good things than with the women who served him, the women who are direct lineage from him. So I'm super excited. We have immediately here, we already know her, senior pastor, our Bishop Deborah and the Crow is with us.
Hello, everybody. How you doing today?
And we have, for the first time in our podcast space, super honored. She does talk shows and all that stuff, so she's gonna be. Watch how comfortable she is in this room. Watch this. Bishop's daughter, Tawana E. Brown.
Ooh, hi, everybody. How's everyone doing today? Thank you for joining.
So this podcast is dropping on Archbishop's birthday. So I want to start here. What does this day do for you all now? Is it a day of celebration for you? Does it happen to bring a whole bunch of sadness, or what do you all feel on this day?
T?
On his birthday?
Yeah.
It's a mixture for me.
Okay.
Every year
Right.
since he's been gone. I think about how you all always have services for him, and I always go.
Mm-hmm.
So right before his birthday, you always have something
Right.
that Sunday before.
Yeah.
So I get sad that Sunday before because I know there's nothing and there's no him.
Right.
You know, and then I get happy because I know he's in a better place.
Absolutely.
He's not suffering. And he would tell Pastor Deborah and I in a minute, he's glad to be where he is. You know, he would always, he always talked about him dying. And I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
he was. And so that gives me, a little bit of comfort knowing that he's not here suffering. He was tired of dialysis. Yeah. He was tired of taking so many pills. So, and then I think about just him, how funny he was. Yeah. And I have joy. So it's mixed for me.
Mixed. Okay.
Yeah, it's mixed.
Now, for me, is I'm content. When you reflect on his life mm-hmm. and all of the things that he went through, particularly with the sicknesses and things of that nature, to know that he no longer has to do dialysis or, that thing with his legs cut off and all of that. I'm at a place of comfort, and I'm glad that, you think about COVID, like I know Bishop was like, no, I ain't wearing no mask.
Right.
I ain't gonna do that. The devil's a lie. I'm covering with blood. And I knew that it would be a battle. Mm-hmm. Like, Bishop, please put on this mask. Girl, God got me. So I'm at a place of peace. It took me some time to get there. There were years leading up to his birthday that I would literally like have anxiety attacks. Like, he's gone. Like, what are we going to do? How are we going to make this happen? But now I'm good. Like, happy birthday, Bishop. And that's it.
That was one of the questions I wanted to ask y'all too is, and we're going to get to like more happy place, but how have you all coped with this? It's been, this year will be 6 years. And I don't know how you all feel, but to me, it feels like it just happened yesterday.
Yeah. And
I wasn't expecting that. I tell my wife all the time, I didn't expect to miss Bishop as much as I really do. I'm not really a guy who I understand death. I respect death. Bishop and my grandmother died 4 years ago, and I miss my grandmother every day, and I find it to be so strange. How have y'all coped with it? Have you really coped with it, or are you still just a process? Or?
Well, for me, being his natural daughter, mm-hmm. I think that's going to always be a process for me, personally. Over the years, my father and I really got really closer. And so for me, I was looking for it to happen even more. you know. So when God snatched him and took him, I was like, are you serious right now? Like, it was just the beginning for me of our closeness. You know what I'm saying? We always had a relationship, but, you know, anybody who knew me, I always gave him problems. So, you know,
True.
but so as I got older, we got closer. So I was looking for more of that. So when that's no longer, it's a process for me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I accept the fact that he's gone, but I think it will always be a process because my father was a teacher, as you know, and he always had nuggets, always had something to say, always wanted to tell you something. And now I find it like, oh, I remember when daddy said this and that. So I still look to that, and I have no one to really call to ask certain things or pray about certain things. And he will call me back and say, did God answer that yet?
Sure did. Sure did.
So, you know, for me, it's a process. And I think it will always be for the rest of my life. I'm going on 59 years old this year. And I think that will always be a hole in my heart that my daddy is no longer here. He was a great man. He got on my nerves now, don't get me wrong.
You got on his too.
Exactly. We got on each other's nerves.
All the time.
Because you were so much alike, though, right?
Oh, too much. Too much.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, for me, it would always be that. And I'm an only child. So, you know, I don't have anyone else to lean on.
Right, right.
So that's for me.
So it's a void for me. It's still something that I deal with periodically, not like an anniversary or something is coming up. It's just Bishop was like salt and pepper, like we were. You know what I mean? There was nothing that he wanted that I didn't try to make happen.
True.
Yes, true.
And you know, I had to adjust my life with not having to do.
Right.
Because I would get up, I would literally call him every morning at 4:00. It's time for dialysis. And, you know, start my day. Till this day, I'm still up at 4 a.m.
Wow.
Because it became such a habit. So I've always been used to doing for him and making sure he's good, making sure he has, making sure he was covered, making sure the guys were there to take him to do whatever. So it's an adjustment for me still today.
Right.
That I often think about just randomly, it just hit me. Wow, he's gone. What am I going to do and how I'm going to do it? Because he was, I don't want to say he's my everything because Jesus is my everything.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
But he meant the world to me.
Right.
And his time, his death was like my mom, then my dad, then him. So like, that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I deal with it, you know, randomly. As a matter of fact, I went through a crying spell about 2 weeks ago. And somebody said to me, like, Bishop, you're grieving Bishop's death is what's happening to you. And it shook me. I was like, oh yeah, his birthday is coming up. And unbeknownst to me, you know, psychologically, I'm like, and I didn't know, like, what am I was talking to a pastor. We just talking generally. And all of a sudden I'm crying. And then I start talking about different things and I start crying again. And then he was like, you know what? You still grieving.
Yeah. Yes.
So it took a lot and it's still a lot, but you know, I take a day at a time. Yeah.
I want people to really understand that everyone grieves differently.
Yeah.
True.
And you can't put, this is what my mom told me because I was complaining to her about my grandma. She said, you can't put a time limit to how long you grieve. So like, it's okay if you have moments of missing someone, especially people who meant like what Bishop meant to so many people.
Right.
So let's shift. What made Bishop so special to the world? And I'm not saying to our church. I mean, to me, Bishop was a special person to the entire world. There's no one's going to convince me anything differently. So what made Bishop so special?
Him being himself.
Yeah.
He was very personable.
Absolutely.
He met no strangers. And even if he didn't know who the person was, he's like, hey, sugar, how you doing? And he'll go,
Who's that?
I'm like, I don't know. You spoke
Exactly.
to me. But that's how he was. He was genuine, 100%, never changing. You can always expect the same thing. if it came down to correction, he would correct it, and then he would love you. And then there were days that I'd be so angry at this man, and he'll go, "Hey, let's go out to dinner." I'm not going out to dinner with you. You just cursed me out, like fuss me out, like, oh baby, get over it. We going, let's go. And we would all go, and if you didn't smile, he'd go, you still carrying that? Let that go. I moved on. And it would just drive me crazy because I would want to still be angry.
Yes.
And he moved on and he laughed, oh, baby, sugar, no. I want to be mad, but he would not let you stay angry.
And he meant it. He wasn't pretending.
No,
he wasn't angry.
really,
Yeah, he
and I'm
wasn't.
like, God, help me to be like that, because he would say something, you would be angry, all in my emotions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, girl, please. No, stop, just stop. And he would just function like it never even happened. And then one thing about him, he would say it. Once he released it, he's finished with it. But I was still trying to get up there.
Right.
I'm still mad. You can be mad all you want. We going to eat, so let's go. Yeah. But he was a genuine person. And when I tell you that I've not met anyone like him.
No one.
Truly.
No one.
No,
that's no lie.
His ideas, his design, his thought, his compassion, his patience. He was a mold that was broken that will not be made again.
I'm so glad you said that, because I realized mantles transfer, but character doesn't.
No.
Right.
And the things we remember about
deep.
Bishop is character.
That's deep.
He was such a man of such great
integrity.
Yes, he was.
Always knew how to make you feel loved.
Yes.
Tawana, what do you think made him so special? Obviously, you experienced him in a whole nother way.
Well, for me, because you said with people outside, right? So you all can't imagine how many people come up to me, like even on my bus. Really? They're like, "You're Archbishop Brown's daughter," and I'm like, "Yeah," and they start telling me stories about my dad, and I'm like, "Really? Wow! Thank you for sharing." And I really mean that, because people tell me how much he touched their lives, and they never met him. Mm-hmm. Like either it would be through a television broadcast that you all once had, or through the radio. Mm-hmm. And they would say how he touched their lives. And what I loved about my dad, one of the things I loved about him is he was humble. Mm-hmm. Right? He was really humble. They would call him the father of the city.
Really
right? And he would say, I would say, "Daddy, they say you're the father of the city." He said, "The father what?" I said, "The father of the city." He said, "Girl, I don't know about none of that. I just know I'm your father." You know what I'm saying? You know, and he would go to churches and people would stand and clap. And he would say, "Oh my God, they standing for me."
Easily embarrassed.
Right.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, there was just so many things about him, Pastor Email, that made him who he was.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't want anybody to feel that we're not saying he was perfect.
No.
Because no one is perfect.
Right, exactly.
He had his faults. You know, he got on our nerves, as you can hear. You know, he would reprimand you. He would, so many things, but the good outweighed the bad with him.
100%.
You know, and I mean that, and I'm his daughter.
Yeah.
I'm his daughter too.
Yo, you are. I know. We always have battles with that. You know what I'm saying? But you was his oldest. Yeah. But the good outweighed the bad with him. Yeah. You know, and as Bishop Crow just said, there is no other. Not saying there aren't other good people out there.
Right, yeah.
But my dad would go remember we would go to the airport, and he's sitting there trying to talk to people, and they ignoring him. And I'm his daughter. I'm mad. I'm like, "Dad, leave these people alone, please. Like, just stop talking to them." You know what I'm saying? I mean, I have an attitude.
Talking to them about what? Just conversation?
That's how he was. Just strike up a conversation.
Just want to talk. "Hey, how are you today?" And they sitting there, look. And I'm like, "Daddy, leave him alone."
Most people aren't used to people just being
Very
kind.
True. Very
you know?
true.
And he was just that dude.
He was.
Very true.
He was. I just met someone in my church last night who was introduced to me and spoke about how great my dad was and how he was just so warm to them. Yeah. You know? And he was like that to people, preachers, their families. Mm-hmm. That's just who he was.
Yeah.
You can't take that from him. All. You know, don't matter. I don't care what people want to say. He was a sweet, humble person. His ideas was just phenomenal. Yeah. He was a decorator. He always was pulling on Pastor Deborah. "I want to do this." And she like, "Bishop, where we getting the money from to do all of this?"
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. God gave me, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And y'all pulled everything off.
Yeah, my faith has increased tremendously, simply from just being under Archbishop, because I've seen things that he would speak that looked impossible to us, and he would make it happen. Well, God will make it happen.
Yeah,
but
well,
the
I
mere
understand.
fact that he said this gonna be this gonna be that, and I'm be like, oh my God,
Right.
is this man kidding me? But it would happen. It was faith was like
That's all
faith.
Exactly
That's
what it
it.
said in the Bible. That's who he
That's
was.
it.
Yep.
100%.
Faith the size of a mustard seed. That's what he had.
You never realized how much he deposited into you.
Yeah.
Right. One year for Christmas, I thought I looked cute. I had a skinny top vest. My shirt was untucked. I thought I was. He was like, "You're not directing my choir like that." and I don't mean like a private conversation. Bishop Orrin Pullins is waiting to preach. It's Bishop. I'm on the stand about to direct. He's like, "You are not directing the choir. Like, go fix your clothes." And I was just like, "What am I doing in front of all these people?" So I tuck my shirt. I come back. I direct. And I'm walking. He said, "Love you, son." I'm like, no. But then I realized I fussed at Adrian all the time about the way he dressed, and I'm like, shoot. This is Archbishop Brown coming out of me, like. But you don't mean it, but you just want the best for people.
You do.
Absolutely,
He loved
100%.
God, and he was one of the most powerful men. We went on a summer tour, Bishop. Remember this? We went from place to place. We were in Virginia, and we were preaching at Kevin Harris Church, and the lights went out.
Yep.
And Bishop
Kept
did
going.
not stop preaching
Kept going.
until the lights clicked back on.
See?
And we just had that type of power
See?
that never skipped a
telling you.
beat, man.
I'm telling you.
I miss that so much. I miss that type of genuine, one of the things I think I got from, I don't like people playing church.
No, I don't
Me
think
either.
so.
I don't like, I
I
watch
don't
stuff
either.
now, I'm like,
Me either.
I don't like that. I don't like to be silly. I was telling Melissa something. She said, "You got that from Bishop. You got that." But I don't like. It's not to be played with.
It's
Right,
not.
because we
It's
were
not.
basically cut from a different cloth.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like anybody
Absolutely.
that came up under Bishop, like there's certain things that we just would not
Oh
do.
my gosh.
And he would not tolerate. Like
He
we
won't.
were someplace not long ago, and my nephew said, Bishop Brown just jumped on me. I'm getting out of here. And we left. Because that, there's some things that we just did not do.
Yeah, he didn't tolerate certain.
We
He
were
believed
taught
in
completely
excellence.
Different.
Yes, yes.
And then sometimes it's hard for me because it sticks you in old school, right? Because
And
you
you're a
just
bishop,
used to,
so.
right? Yeah, and I would have to deal with that, but
Yeah.
that's it is embedded in me.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Yeah, well, you've been under him
What
for a
about
long
what
time.
he added to kingdom stuff? Like, what was his contribution to the kingdom that we can't, like, praise and worship was a thing.
That's
It's
how prayer
really-
day started.
Yeah, man. All this, like, what else did he add? Built churches everywhere.
Put
the
ministers
school.
out.
Yeah, man.
He was not intimidated about
No.
who he used.
No,
he didn't
he
care
wasn't.
if the whole church left.
Yeah. No, I recall one time that Archbishop was done. Like, you don't tithe? Made a list of all the people that was not tithing. If I call your name, please stand up. You're dismissed from the service. And I remember one particular person who's still here today. He's like, Pastor Brown, I'm sorry. I'm going to stop paying my tithe tomorrow. I'm not leaving. But he literally put 1,000 people out of the church.
Didn't he sit the choir down for his whole
Set the
season?
choir
They
down,
don't care.
close the curtains on
Yeah.
Broadway. Like, it was nobody like this man. Like, do it God's way or not at all. And the moment he said that God said it, you couldn't tell him nothing.
No, you couldn't.
God said it, that's it, we gonna do it.
Yeah. And he also trusted when you said God said something.
Yeah, oh no,
Yes.
he didn't question that.
He didn't.
No, he did
that,
not.
that would end the conversation with you.
Right.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
are
you
so
said God said it?
true.
Okay, I'm not.
Right.
Do what God said do.
Right. He's not
That's
going
it.
against that.
Yeah,
Nope,
never.
not at all.
Never would.
So many leaders were birthed out of him.
Yes.
Right? Like Twan said, he was never intimidated by.
Never.
He would push. Go ahead, let him do it.
Yeah.
He would
Yeah.
push people like crazy.
Yeah.
These are things that we don't see a lot of because now people are pushing people with the intention of what they can bring to them.
Right,
Bishop
yeah.
only used people. He
Only.
made
Alternative
people.
motives people
So
have.
it
He
was
didn't.
like this, the thing, like if we went to a hotel, like, whenever you book a certain amount of rooms, they give you rooms as a complimentary, whatever.
Uh-huh.
Bishop would like give it to the people.
Yes.
Like, don't the money that you would give me or the rooms, work that out so my people can go.
Wow.
Like, work that out so it'll be a discount for them. Like, it was never anything that he took for himself. It was always the people.
was.
And everything he did was let me do the people. I'll never forget we had a ministry where we would go to the Bowery. Like we would pick up people that was on the streets that didn't have anywhere to stay, whatever. Bring them back, wash them, change them. The thing that hurt him was that we didn't have anywhere to put them after you clean them up. Preach the gospel. They've given their lives to the Lord, and then we had to turn them back to the thing. So that was one of the weakest parts of his ministry that he could not, because we didn't have the facility that after they got their life together, cleaned them up, and we put you right back in the same predicament that we just cleaned you up from. So, but when I tell you, we traveled the world and we ministry, preaching, tent, from tours, from 2 weeks straight, and make sure that the people were able to stay. There were days that people went, or places that we went that we didn't have money, and everybody ate. I'll never forget one time he gave money and people went shopping and he lost his money. He lost it. I gave you money to eat. You don't be buying no clothes. So yeah, we've been everywhere with this man. We've done a lot. Souls, when I tell you souls after souls after souls.
People getting healed and delivered out of wheelchairs and walkers and canes.
And that's funny you said that too, because I remember back in the day when I got healed, because I had one foot like this and one foot like that, and God really did. And he said, you can go back to being crooked if you don't live right. I said, oh, shoot.
I think that was one of the greater things for us as young people growing up, to see true deliverance.
Yeah.
Like I'm serious. Yeah. We saw demons come out of people. They was talking, and Daddy was like, "Y'all can sit up here and play if you want to. Yeah. Open them doors, because that demon's getting ready to get up out of here. And if you're not praying, he's gonna get in you." Yeah. So those were very like moments that I will never forget. He taught us prayer, fasting. He taught us when we fasted and we shut in. You wasn't bringing mattresses and blankets and
pillows. No, you wasn't sleeping in no.
You was not sleeping. What are you doing? No. He come around with the mic in your ear.
Yeah, get out. Yeah, no, we couldn't sleep in the shutter.
No, you praying.
You want to shut in, go home. Right. Don't bring no pillows in this shut-in. This is not a sleeping. This is a shut-in. And we literally studied the word all night. Prayed all night. 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, we go home. That was it.
And he was a man who wasn't afraid to worship. He would twist. He would turn. I remember coming to Broy one day and he's praying. I'm like, well, where's Bishop? He was underneath the pew, just laying on his back, just praying. Yeah. And I'm like, and as a man, that taught me that it's okay to twist. And then we had men, because of Bishop, that would do the same thing he did, because that type of culture is contagious.
Yeah. And he was a crier too.
Absolutely.
What? He cried quicker than a woman.
Yeah.
That man cried. But because I love that.
People.
Yes.
He had a genuine love for people.
Yes.
He would sit for hours after service.
That's what hurt
soaking
people.
Wet.
Yes.
But if there was a line of people, he would sit.
Yes.
We just don't see that type of stuff. We have so many armor bearers you can barely get to. The Bishop would sit in one spot and people would just wait. Actually, the day before he passed.
Yes, that's what I was getting ready to say.
It was just a line of people just waiting.
That's why people were shocked. Like, I was just online talking to him.
Yeah.
Yep, that's true, because it was actually a funeral. I think it was Dolores Lee's funeral.
Yes.
The funeral, we went to the burial, we came back to the church, and people were still lined up waiting to talk to him. And if they didn't do anything but say, grace and peace, how you doing, and keep it moving, they would literally wait. Like lines of people. I'm not talking about 5, 6, 7. I'm talking about literally lines of people. Yeah. That after we got back from the burial, drove all the way to the gravesite, came back, Bishop still sitting in the church talking to people lined up and still waiting to talk to
And he loved it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He lived for the people. He loved people. He was definitely a people's person.
Definitely.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
What are some of the, like one of the greatest moments, like something that you think about all the time about him?
Funny or serious?
Funny. Give me one of each.
I don't know.
Well, funny for me was all of us. And you always bring this up. He was in a wheelchair. Mm-hmm. And we were going down this ramp and I had on heels.
No. Okay, you were dressed up.
Okay, you tell it.
And when she came to the house, I said, Tawana, where you going dressed up? He's like, baby, why you dressed up? Heels and everything. She said, Daddy, I'm going with you. So, okay, well, it's time to go. Let's go. We get outside and we had to take Bishop down the steps because he's in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
This chick right here, she all dressed up. She have on high heels. She can't hold on. Bishop grabs onto the rail because he's like, y'all not going to make me fall. And we like, Bishop, let it go. We got you. No. He would, when I tell you that man held onto that rail because he was not going to fall. Tawana dressed up. It was another man with us. Neil was with us. And Neil was struggling. Tawana had on heels. He was like, Nessie, come help us. That thing was funny. And when we got the bishop finally down, was 3 steps, right? He got him down. He said, the devil is alive. Y'all wasn't going to drop me today. So that was hilarious. It was really hilarious.
That was really
he's
funny.
Like, and baby, why would you wear heels? You know we was going with it. And at the time, he didn't have a ramp. It was just the steps. So all we had to do, he decided that let's go out the front door instead of going out the back. Because the front door was easier, so we go out the front. And honey, that man held on to that rail.
Oh my God.
And he was sliding. I was sliding.
Yeah, with heels on.
With heels on.
Everybody else had on flats.
And Pastor Deborah yelling in the van.
Bishop! That was funny.
That
then.
was hilarious.
Afterwards,
then.
it was funny, but
yeah,
it wasn't
not
funny
while
then.
it was going on.
No. He was
because I was
for dear
scared.
life.
Right.
I thought that I was going to
let him drop.
Yes, and he was determined. I wish y'all could have saw
I tell
his
you
face.
one thing that was funny to me though, like as much as I served Archbishop, I served him. I don't care what time of day you need me, I'm there, right? So one day he needed help with something. And I was trying to help him. He said, baby, no. You don't know what you're doing. Let Nissy do it. I said, okay. From that day, I never tried to help him again. I said, Nissy, Bishop needs you. Nissy. He said, baby. I mean, he said it so nice. And my feelings was hurt. Because listen, I've been there all day, every day, doing everything I could do. And you go say, baby. You don't know what you're doing. Move. Let Nissy do it. I said, okay.
He was good for telling you to stop. He would. Don't do that. That's not your ministry.
No. You don't know what you're doing. Nissy is the best. He had a special name for Nissy too.
Yes, he did. I don't remember what it was.
Either, but yeah, honey, don't move.
That was his
move,
heart,
baby. Thank you. I love you. Move. Let Nissy do it. Nissy did it.
Any serious moments that was just like life changing, where you're just like, oh, thank you for that, Bishop, shifted you.
Oh, there's so many that
Wow.
I can't think of any one right now. But I think that what shifted me was life changing is what he saw in me that I didn't see in me. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I got one.
I'll never forget, we used to always go to Houston's restaurant in Washington, D.C. because Bishop loved spare ribs. Right. And it would be a fun trip, but it would always turn out to be a spiritual trip.
Even the movies.
Like sitting in the restaurant, Bishop would just begin to minister to us. And I'll never forget, I wrote it in my Bible. He said what God was going to do in my life, what I was going to be and what I was going to be doing. Now, at the time,
using resistance,
you would have thought that, like, is this man crazy? But what he spoke in Washington, D.C., sitting in that restaurant, changed my life.
Wow.
And that had to be back in 1970 something.
Wow.
That it literally reversed everything.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll never forget that.
Well, for me, this one thing that I can really think of right now changed my whole perspective of my father. I was backslidden. And I called him and Pastor Deborah up and was like, I lost my job. I need some money, right? So he said, all right, come by the church. Then he must have had a conversation with Pastor Deborah. And she said, starting Sunday, you're going to be driving the bus. I'm like, driving the bus? Driving the bus where? And so I called back and I said, Daddy, I have no skirts, no dresses. I have nothing but pants. And he said, I don't care. Just come. And he never mistreated me. He never made me feel like the life I was living. You understand? Because my father was very very big on homosexuality at the time, and I was gay. But he never, at that point, I guess his mind was just focused on, I want my daughter back.
That's right.
So they never made me feel a certain kind of way. And that stuck out to me.
Wow.
You know, and made me keep coming and wanting to come. You know, so that really stuck out to me.
Yeah.
Did you drive the bus?
Yeah, I do. Every Sunday morning. Every Sunday morning.
Where were we going?
Jersey. That's when you had the Jersey church.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I think one of the moments for me would be when I preached a Good Friday at Thirst. It was like my first time, and he called me up to his office and laid hands on me. He was crying so hard that I was like, well, where is this going? Like, why? And he said, I knew it. I knew it. And he laid hands on me. And I think, like, Bishop, like, that was the moment that changed my entire life. He one time sent Deacon Buchanan to me some money, stuffed it in my pocket. I never even thought about it. And I got home and it was $1,000. Now, no one has ever given me any type of, when I called him, he just started crying. He's like, no, I love you. Like, you're my son.
Yeah.
And growing up without a dad, I had never had anyone even claim me as a son.
Wow.
And it changed my life. And I honestly could say I am who I am today because this man saw me as a son.
Yes.
You know, and I no longer was an orphan. I wasn't a bastard. I had a father, and so much of my identity came from him. And he said to me, how do you know how to preach like that? I'm like, Bishop, what do you think?
Right.
And from this day forward, no one can ever, I don't care what anyone thinks about how I preach. My father thought I was a preacher.
Right.
And I'm good with that.
I know that's right.
And it just meant so much to me. He changed
I know that's right.
my life.
I like that.
What also changed your life is that you didn't run when you got cut.
No, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what fathers do.
Yeah.
They chastise
Yeah.
those that they love.
Right.
And like the day that you said about the time you said, "Oh, go fix yourself up," you know, that was an opportunity for you to say, "Man, bye." You direct the choir.
Yeah.
You know, but he saw something in you that it gave you that elasticity.
Yeah.
That even if I correct you, you know you're gonna be who God has called you to be. So that's what he did. Like I left this church a many of Sundays crying because that man would tell me, like, read the Bible for me. And one day I was reading it and he said, "You're reading it too loud." I said,
well, you know, he didn't like a lot of loudness.
yeah, but he
listened to his TV so loud.
Yeah, true.
but he told me, and I was sitting on the far side by the window and he was in the pulpit. "Baby, read the scriptures." I read the scripture. "Baby, that's too loud." I said, in front of the whole church. He didn't say, "Shh." He said, "Baby, that's too loud." I was like, okay. So he would cut you.
Yeah.
You ain't got to tell me.
At one time, honestly, I felt like I was a book in the Bible.
Oh, really? You was.
Because today Deborah's getting ready to get cut.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what I did. It was always something wrong. Oh, Pastor Deborah this, Pastor Deborah. Every time I say, okay, well, what scripture he gonna use on me today?
How you gonna get this?
But no, this is the thing that would kill me. If he chastised you and you agree, like, amen, amen. Oh no, that was wrong.
Right.
Now you're patronizing me.
Right.
Now you know I'm correcting. You know I'm preaching on you, and you gonna say amen like it's okay. No, you would get cut deeper.
Yeah.
And you know those are things that we don't do now because everybody's like walk on eggshells.
That's true.
You know, oh, I'm not gonna stay at that church. Oh, he ain't my father. Oh, you can't talk to me like that.
Yeah.
But those are the things that we went through to make us who we are today.
Yeah. And one of the best feelings in the world was to know he believed in you.
Yes.
Right? I remember we was at Bishop House and there was all this stuff going on. People were saying this about me and Pastor called Bishop on the phone and he said, well, is it true? And I said, Bishop, it's not true. He said, then that's it. I believe you. You're my son. I believe what you say. And it built so much of confidence in you.
Wow.
They just don't make it like that. They don't make them like him anymore at all. At all. My last question is, what do you think he would be saying about who you are today? I often think about that. I know my hair would drive him crazy. I know my hair would drive him crazy.
You say, son.
Yes.
You got to get rid of that.
Yes.
Son, cut that off.
I know. And I think about that all the time.
But you know, there was a deacon in the church that had dreads.
And he made him cut it.
He didn't make him cut it. He
Suggest
preached
it.
him
Okay.
Convicted him to cut it, because at the end of the day, you couldn't serve and look a certain way, and so he would really be very disappointed with your hair right now.
Absolutely. With my hair,
Yeah,
yes.
very disappointed. He would love you.
Yeah.
Enjoy what you say and do, but now, son, you can't look like that. I'm just sorry you
And
can't.
he always was so impressed what type of father I was.
Oh.
He was like, "You're a really good father." I don't know. He's like, "No, you are. I watched you." He was sitting in the back and watched me coming with the girls, and he would go, "You always tend to your wife. You don't leave her alone. Like, how do you know?" I'm like, I don't know. I just do it." He's like, "You're really good."
That's nice.
Yeah. What do you think he would be saying about who you are like right now?
I don't know what you say.
Oh, I know what he would say about you. He would be so very proud.
I don't know what he would say.
Nah, he would. You know. Of course, he would get on you about some things he probably didn't like or saw, but he would be so very proud of her.
Yeah.
He
I
would.
don't want to say that, but then again, I know Bishop. He would say something good, and then he'd say, "But now listen."
Right. That truly. Of course he would.
Now listen. Now listen. I'm just gonna be honest.
Right.
I'm just gonna tell you. Now hurt your feelings. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but listen. Now listen. This, that, and the third. I would probably be crying or whatever. Else, but
But it was worth it.
yeah,
It was
absolutely.
worth it. To be close
100%.
to him and to hear that.
I don't take back a day, an hour, a time,
Wow, Bishop.
an opportunity that I shared with Archbishop. The love, the lessons, the rebukes, the good times, the bad times, the hurtful times, the times that we cried together about things, the times that we prayed together about things, the time that we watched God change things. Like, I don't take any of that for granted.
Wow.
I am who I am today because of him. No, ultimately because of God, but because of the God inside of him.
Definitely.
That he saw in me what I could not see in myself.
Yeah.
That man has such an insight. There are things that are occurring right now today that before he died, he spoke to me, and I'm literally watching it happen.
Wow.
Today. How?
How did he know that?
Because he had an insight that was second to none. He had a connection with God.
Yes, that was phenomenal.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
Like, was phenomenal.
It was.
And like you said, he wasn't perfect, but he served a perfect God.
Yes.
And all we saw in him was perfection.
Yes.
Because he would be the first one to stand up and say, I'm not,
Absolutely.
but it's God.
Right.
It's God.
He did.
If something happened, he'll tell on himself before
sure
you try to
will.
hold something
He sure
over his
will.
head.
He sure
Because
would.
you're not going to bind me up. God
Nope.
free me and this,
Yes,
that.
sir.
But that's how he was. And I till this day, I cherish the moments and the memories of Archbishop Roy Brown. He'll always be in my heart, always be on my mind, and always be my father. I don't claim other people as my father.
Oh, I never will.
He was more of a father to them than my father.
Oh, okay.
Truthfully saying.
I got you.
He was. My father was a man of, he believed in working and taking care of his family, but he didn't have time for his family.
Okay.
Archbishop didn't have a family per se.
Right.
Like, this is why we had Thanksgiving and all of those holidays we was fasting, because he didn't have nothing. What he got to lose?
Yeah, you're right.
So, that's how he was. But I love him till this day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any lasting impression? Anything you want to say before we tune out?
I thank y'all for this. This is really, really different. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for never forgetting him, because sometimes when people die, they move on and they don't relish what their prior pastor or bishop did, or who he was or she was, and what they impacted, how they impacted your lives, what they deposited in you. But you all constantly do something every single year. And someone asked me recently, I told Bishop Crow, they were like, what are you going to do for your father this year? I said, after 5 years, I don't know what to do anymore. It's like he was a great man, but how do you keep him alive?
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like I'm doing, like trying to keep him alive, because he was so great. I don't ever want people to forget him.
Yeah.
And I really mean that from my heart.
feel
I
the
don't
same way,
ever want anyone to move on with life and forget who he was, what he deposited, what he brought to this world, what he brought to his sons and daughters. I respect everyone, but please just don't forget who he was, because we are who, like you all said, we are who we are because of God making him be who he was
Absolutely.
and depositing into us.
That's so good,
and
yeah.
being our father, loving us despite who we were, despite the things that we did. He didn't throw you away like other people do today. He didn't sit around and talk about you like a dog. He'll tell you to your face.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
So I just really just want to take this time to thank Pilgrim, Bishop Crow, Pastor Email, just for, and always including me. You know, thank you. And thank you for helping me keep him alive.
We love you.
I love y'all too.
We love,
love
you
you.
too. But you know, we say that gone but not forgotten. It's more than a cliche. It's a fact. Every inch of this building is Archbishop Brown. Every piece of property is Archbishop Brown. When churches was failing, he would give money, fix roofs, fix churches, pay mortgages, buy cars, give out fur coats. You know, he taught us a lesson on life, like how women should carry themselves, how to love your mate, you know, how to be who you are and still love God. So yeah, he's gone, but he'll never ever be forgotten.
Nah.
I can never forget what he's done and what he meant. You know, the years of going. The people don't know that there were years that Bishop went without that we could have. You know,
Yes.
there were times that he would give his last so we can have.
Yes.
You know, and so I'll never forget. And we say here in this church, the legacy continues. But the life and legacy of Archbishop Roy Brown, and I know people get tired of us.
They do. We don't
talking
care
about
though.
Bishop.
I know that's
We don't
right.
care.
Bishop,
I don't
Bishop,
either.
Bishop,
You know,
Bishop,
we
Bishop.
don't care.
Oh, he not God. He not Jesus. He may not be. He was not God.
Right.
But he was a form of God to us. You know what I mean? A point to where we looked up to him.
Absolutely.
And that, with that love that he had for God, made us to understand who God is.
Right.
And made us love God more.
Right.
That if he can do it for Archbishop Brown, then surely he can do it for us. And so I stand on the fact today that faith, we know, is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. The faith that Archbishop Brown had, he would tell us that if you needed God to give you collard greens, he'll let the grass, the weed in your yard turn into, that's the kind of faith he had. And I had to develop the faith of understanding that no matter what it is that we stood in need of here in Pilgrim Church, God said that everything that we need is in the house. Until this day, I still believe that.
Amen.
That whatever we need,
I know that's
God
right.
said is in the house. So he'll never be forgotten.
Amen.
Ever.
Yeah. We're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep living the legacy out. We love him. Those of you who are watching, thank y'all for tuning in. Drop your comments, drop your memories in the comment section. Tonight, 8 p.m., we have a very special showing of one of his sermons. If you didn't watch the one that came on at 10 a.m., go back and watch it. All day, we're celebrating the life and the memory of our dad, the Archbishop Roy Brown. I love you. We love you. Thank you for watching. We'll see you soon.